We have my good friend Brian S. Red here. We have DJ Mikey Mike from my hometown where I was born in Scranton area. John Colley from Boston, and Jay from Swingin' Temecula, California.
What's up, everybody?
Tonight, when I saw, we all know, what the heck is that lady? The charismatic voice, right?
Oh, yeah.
Now, she has 2 channels. I didn't know. I discovered by accident she has another channel. She uses her real name, Mary Spencer. And it's 8.5-minute video, but she did what we would consider, clickbait. Why new music sucks. And she does not mention one time in 8.5 minutes that new music sucks, but she has some really good insight. And I thought I would read 2 paragraphs to you and then get your opinion, because this is something I had no idea. I did not know about this. And here it goes. Video games' influence over music discovery is only growing. Between 25 and 30% of people now encounter new music through games. And the proportion is higher among Gen Z. Video game soundtracks are some of the most widely streamed albums on Spotify and have experienced their own vinyl boom. Now she goes on to say, we knew that video games would become what MTV and commercial radio had once been in the 80s and 90s. Any given song in FIFA, whatever that means, if somebody knows, you can tell me later, FIFA, whether it's a new track by an established act or the debut of an unknown artist, will be heard around the world nearly 1 billion times. Clearly, no medium in the history of recorded music can deliver such massive and instantaneous global exposure. Whoa, it blew my mind. I was like, wow, that's some powerful stuff just from games.
Yeah.
Have at it. Did anybody else know this?
No,
I knew that it was a thing because when I watch some of the reaction videos from the kids, on YouTube, they'll hear like a Van Halen song. Oh, that's from Guitar Hero. So they recognize the songs from games. I mean, I don't know how many games have music in them, but yeah, they've talked about, different songs they recognize from video games or, yeah. It's games or movies usually. It's games a lot though. Yeah.
Yeah, but the fact that they're actually now making albums from the game is pretty incredible.
Like a soundtrack. Like a movie soundtrack.
It's a soundtrack, but you can actually buy it on vinyl too. Yeah. I was like, whoa.
It used to be to spotlight new tracks. I remember when we had PlayStation 2 in the house, this Twisted Metal game came up. It's like a giant demolition derby. You drive around an ice cream truck and try to crash into things. And one of the songs that was released was Rob Zombie's Dragula. So dig through the ditches, burn through the witches. And you hear that, and it's one of the screens that the kids will play. So after the 6th or 7th hour of just hearing this loop of Dragula going on and on and on, all the words to the song. It's ingrained in your brain at that point. But that's got to be going back to, early 90s. And that was to showcase a song that was going to be released on a record, but it wasn't specifically made for the game. It sounds like now that artists are actually composing specifically for the purpose of being in like World Cup soccer like FIFA, like you said, or
FIFA is the soccer league.
Shakira was involved in that.
Series.
Okay.
Yeah,
Good.
If you go to Wikipedia, they break it down to FIFA for the soccer league. They also break it down to video game series because they have a FIFA football. So it might be when I talked to Chris Cox last month about remixes, and he's like, no, I'm not doing that many because record labels are pushing to TikTok instead of giving it to artists to remix.
Yeah, I remember that.
I mean, it's I remember when, what was it? They had the Miami Vice theme. Then they had the 80s theme. The one with Trevor and Michael. God, the famous game. The video game where it's like the three main characters are running around driving
Grand Theft
cars.
Auto?
Grand Theft Auto. And they were regurgitating older music. So my kids would be like, oh, I love this song. It would be like Guns N' Roses, Paradise City. I'm like, you know this? They're like,
right.
Yeah, it's in the game. It's in the game. That became an expression.
I
had this talk with somebody today about how my kids don't own music because that's not how they ingest music. It's done through streaming. So the game now, if I'm a record label or an artist, my game isn't to get on the radio or to make a video for MTV. The game is to find out what platform people are ingesting it the quickest. And I think, like John said, if you're looping something in a game, people will eventually go, what is this? Or when they do hear it, they'll see that association. I mean, how many of us, we've all done this. We've all played music at events based solely on the fact that it became a commercial hit. Look at Fleetwood Mac last year. There's an album from 1977, 1978, and all of a sudden some dude with a thing of cranberry grape juice is riding his skateboard around LA, and suddenly Fleetwood Mac is back in the charts because he's playing that song. So the ingestion of music has changed dramatically. And I would think if I was in the music business, I'd be terrified because I wouldn't know where to give my stuff away because that's really what you're doing. You're not selling music anymore. You're giving it away in hopes that eventually someone will pay money to go see that artist in concert. How else are you getting paid? I mean, there's 1,000 ways to get a song for free right now. There's more ways to get it for free than there are to pay for it.
Jay just went from yacht rock to arena rock to hip hop to
this video game thing. Change the radio station.
I am covering the bases.
So I want to go back to what you were
all the bases.
We're talking about the Grand Theft Auto soundtrack.
Topic?
I remember if you stole a car in that. I don't know why I remember this. I think it's because Blanca's kids were playing it before I made the rule that video games go to the bedroom so we can have the living room because the kids can't have it anymore.
Right.
You could turn on a radio station. Like there was an 80s station and there was a rock station, and it was. I remember hearing you'd steal a car and you'd immediately go to the 80s station. It would be like Human League's Keep Feeling Fascination right away. Like in progress, you tune it in and there it would be.
Oh wow.
So there's I guess I didn't realize how popular it was, but yeah, it's a thing.
I'm not a gamer, and I don't.
Me either.
Yeah, I didn't come out of that world. My games had sounds like beep 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 beep.
Yeah,
like that,
like Pong and Blip.
Yeah,
and then the little ball across the screen.
Yeah, there was no music, but I see it as a brilliant way. What I'm more surprised by, and if you guys have kids my age, you'll know what I mean, was that period where DJ Hero and what was it, the We Band thing and We Beatles, and I used to literally the four of us would go up and play in a band doing Beatles songs. Colin knew more words to Beatles songs than anything else when he was 6 or 7. And I was like, this is awesome. We're getting the kids into classic rock. We're getting them into real music. And then that kind of all went away. That whole DJ Hero, Band Hero, Guitar Hero.
It lasted just so short of a time because I bought my son the guitar that went with the game and he loved it.
Why did it go away so quickly, I wonder?
I bought DJ Hero when it came out. That was success. I just bought the house in 2008.
2008, you bought the house.
And DJ Hero had just came out. So I paid full price for it. This is before it was on clearance everywhere. I couldn't get her into it for nothing. And this was a couple years after Guitar Hero, I guess. But it didn't do well. It was on clearance everywhere for $3 and clearance bins, 6 months later because nobody wanted it.
But I don't know
the
why.
Guitar Hero did well.
I think it was the work. I think it was the fact you had to actually work. And what's funniest to me is this topic, especially to me, becomes poignant when talking about one band in particular when it comes to streaming. I think we'll all agree. the biggest nemesis of streaming has to be Lars Ulrich with his whole Napster incident. And yet they're advertising on TikTok and on YouTube. They have a new thing called, I think it's called like Unasia or something. And what it is it's a video series you can purchase where it has the members of Metallica showing you how to play their songs, but it has a Guitar Hero type thing in the screen with the neck of a guitar showing where your fingers should be. And their motto about it is, if you want to play like Metallica, you need to play with Metallica. So they've opened it up to become, if you want to play like Rage Against the Machine, you have to play with Rage. Like every band could have that moniker.
Sure.
As
and it's real guitar playing. It's not just yellow, green.
No, it's them sitting there actually playing
on a real guitar
and explaining it. So it's sort of, to me, become that full circle where we don't want stuff given away, but we're willing to charge you for this, which ultimately means you're going to go out and stream more of our music where we're not going to get paid.
Well, you get 1/10 of a millionth of a penny for.
Oh, it's crazy how little money. But I told you that famous, op-ed
I just
piece.
wonder though, like if you were unknown and you were able to talk a gaming platform into using your one song and it's heard 1 billion times around the world, you got to make some kind of money, I would think.
On publishing, you would, yeah.
Well, I don't know how that would work because you're not getting paid for play that way. You're just licensing the game to have that music, and you don't really have any control how many times people are going to play the game and hear the song.
But they're also putting it on an album and CD.
That's different. That's different. Yeah.
But if you're an unknown, Howie, you know what you're saying at that point? I'll take the $50, just get my name out there because, again, money's made on. In the 70s, the rule was tours lost money, albums made money. That was the rule. You toured solely to sell the album and T-shirts. Now it's gone the other extreme. Music loses money, tours make money because every band, no matter how little or big you are, is going to have a meet and greet charge, a VIP charge. I saw Corey Feldman. There was maybe 250 people there. He had 4 tiers of tickets that night. General admission, VIP where you got to go to sound check, VIP meet and greet where you got to meet the band before they went on and after sound check, and then the big VIP where you got photos, professional photos with the band after the set, which meant you had to be in the audience for the duration and then hang out. Well, those tickets were upwards of $300 a piece. Now, how many people purchased? I don't know. But, when you act like that, and if anyone here knows the answer, please tell me. If you go to a club, when you're on tour, I have to guess there's something in the way of a guarantee for your performance. Like, I'm going to play at Brian's Disco Porch. How much? I'll give you $5,000. Okay, I get my merch, $5,000, and that's based on what? That's based on 200 ticket sales. So if we sell 400, what do I get? Well, for 400, I'll give you 7,000. Like, there's got to be negotiations going on for money. You can't call a club and be like, hi, I'm Jay and I want to play your club. I'll take the door. You get the bar. I get my merch. There's got to be some negotiation.
He's so good at segues. He's so good at it, man.
I do what I can.
He is. What were we talking about? Oh, music and games. That's right. Yeah,
music.
Making money.
It's prevalent that people understand the real news, Brian. This isn't fluff. This isn't just push it under the carpet anymore.
Now, is there anybody aware? I mean, they did mention Spotify, so I'd imagine there's a gaming Spotify playlist.
Oh, I'm sure people have made them.
Yeah.
I mean,
Spotify is where you blow your own horn, though. Really, your game is to get your playlist put on a master list, isn't it? I don't use Spotify. I don't like it.
I don't either.
I'm not impressed with it. But I'm told that you can make money on Spotify if you create a playlist and enough people download it or like it. So is that another ulterior motive to get your music on Spotify and then tell all your friends, hey, put my song on your playlist because it'll get higher ranking? I don't know. I know you don't make jack squat for money.
Well, then if you had a Spotify playlist as an album for that game, wouldn't that qualify for what you just said? If someone said, hey, I want to watch, Grand Theft Auto, I want to hear the whole soundtrack,
But those are tracks by like recorded artists that are already signed to labels versus independents.
Mm-hmm.
Like if I create a new playlist and I call it Grand Theft Auto 5 Indie, and I have all independent artists, it's in their best interest to get their name out there. Versus Guns N' Roses, they're making their money playing Rock in Rio to 90,000 people for 3 nights. They don't really care if Spotify is playing their music.
You know what's interesting about what you said, Jay? You were talking about how if you're a new artist, you would think that you would take the $50 just to get your song out there on the game.
At some point, yeah.
But, my observation has been from watching these reaction videos that they know the song, but they have no idea who does it.
Yeah, that's probably true.
Nor do they care. It's the song that comes on when you steal the car.
Right. That makes sense.
You know what I mean? So it might not benefit them. It might not get their name out there. It might get their song out there, but what the song is called or who does it may not get out there.
Well, I said this to someone today about social media numbers. The numbers are reality. You come to me and say, hey, I want Pioneer DJ to do some stuff with me. I go immediately to social media and I go, dude, you get 500 followers on Instagram. You're not worthy of any attention. You're not going to get the name out there. You come to me and I got 5 million. Okay, that's somebody that you have to seriously consider working with because apparently their numbers are such. We had an incident last month where a guy had 50,000 followers and I went to his channel and I went through his top 100 posts and not one of his posts exceeded 10 likes. So I reported back, this is fake. This is purchased followers. This is not legitimate. Mm-hmm. No one has that many followers and this few likes. If you have 600 likes in 100 videos, that's not reality. Reality is you have 50,000 followers and your posts are getting 2,000 likes, 1,000 likes, 800 likes, whatever. So, I think there's that dynamic of getting your name out there and getting the numbers enough where you can say, my song, look at you and I. If we talked to an artist and you said, oh, I got a song that was on the, whatever game soundtrack, and that soundtrack sold 1 billion copies, we'd both look at each other and go like, holy jeez, that's substantial. But yet the reality is nobody knows who the hell they are.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
Right.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. I think it's still being able to say I was on something that had 1 billion numbers. That's what people live and die by today. Perhaps. They live and die by numbers.
But here's one of the things. I game. I play video games. So I see as well. I play GTA 5. I play a lot of video games. And one of the things with GTA 5, when you go to the radio station in your menu, it actually tells you the artist and the title of the song. So you can actually look at it like you're looking at the radio. It'll tell you who it is and the title. And you have multiple radio stations on there. So you have a hip hop station, a rock station, you'll have an 80s station. You have multiple stations so you can go around the dial and click on different things. And then like GTA 5 brought in a couple of DJs, I use air quote DJs, that are supposed to be famous and do stuff on there and they have club sets, like trance sets and so forth and so on. And it's on their radio stuff. But the thing is that other games also do that too. They bring in music from either a mainstream or someone else independent and do stuff. It's very interesting how they lace the music into the video game. There's a couple of video games that you go into a building and the guy's talking on the radio, talking about whatever. All of a sudden, a song comes on the radio, and it's whatever that song is. And it's kind of fun because of the fact that it's songs you never heard before. Because again, they're small artists or whatever trying to get their name out there, but then they they get traction because the fact that people are hearing the song like, I like this song. How can I find this song? And I can tell you a couple songs I had to dig down really deep, find them. I found them on YouTube and heard the song. I don't know if someone recorded them, it's the original artist, whatever, but I found these songs on YouTube and I'm like, okay, I like these songs. I wish I could find an MP3, get licensed and so forth, so on, get professional music through Pool or one of the other services that are designed for us to use, and have that MP3 in my hard drive. But unfortunately, I can't. And I think that the gaming business itself is kind of missing the boat. If they can actually bridge that gap and say, hey, you know what? The artists already we've spoken for, like Guns N' Roses or Boston or something like that, or those classic songs you hear sometimes. Like the big game right now is Modern Warfare 2. There's music in there. People want to hear sometimes that music. And if they came to one of the music houses that we deal with professionally and said, hey, we want to release these songs so people hear these songs and they can request these songs. Because I don't know about you, but I've done plenty of weddings where people want songs, not just from video games, from movies and TV shows, but also because of the fact that they heard it and they want this. And they're like, oh, yeah, it's popular right now because of this or that. And sometimes it's hard to get hold of songs. Or sometimes those songs you can't get because no one knows the artist, don't know the name of the title, and you have to dig down for it, look back at the soundtrack from Ubisoft or from Massive or whoever the video game company is, and try to track down this information. So I feel that the video game companies are kind of missing the boat a little bit and not going to us professionals and saying, hey, we want to get these songs to you guys. Let's go through the proper channels and make sure the artist is compensated for their time. So that way that $50 grows more, because when we get our services, they get
maybe they are. Let's take a look at movies where they use that Zeppelin and they use that Layla for the end of
Goodfellas.
I mean, but they paid enormous amount of money just to use that song one time.
Yeah, and that's
Sopranos don't stop believing.
Yeah, we've talked about that in great length.
Yeah, but they paid dearly to use that song.
Well, it's the old school days of having a song published and owning the rights to it. Look now where artists are selling their publishing. Bruce Springsteen, Bob Dylan, Neil Young. I mean, there's probably 10 other artists I'm forgetting about. And they're selling for hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars.
Yeah, I know Paul Simon did it. Simon did it. And
Paul Simon. I mean, you're talking...
Bob Dylan.
Bob Dylan, yeah.
I heard Bruce Springsteen today say, I'm 73 years old. He sold his publishing for, I think, $700 million or $600 million.
Like, think of it like this. It's like when you win the lottery. You can get the payout, the full payout, a little bit every month, or you can take the big payout.
And you know what, Brian? It's pretty half. You say it that way. That's pretty much what he said. He goes, I sold it to Capital. I figured, you know what? I'm at an age now. I've got a family. You know what? Let me reap the rewards. Yeah, here you go. You can have it. And he was being interviewed by Howard Stern, and he goes, yeah, Neil Young was kind of pissed off because they used Old Man in a commercial. And Bruce just laughed, and he goes, you know what? When you sell this stuff, it's not yours.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even say about it. It's not yours anymore.
Once the kids turn 18, they go do what they want to do. It's
and
that's supposed to just buy it, look at it. They got to make money with it.
Beatles weren't on Apple Music or iTunes or anything. They weren't. That wasn't their domain. AC/DC wasn't. Garth Brooks wasn't. There's famous stories of artists that weren't there. Well, when the Beatles catalog suddenly got sold, Revolution showed up in a Nike commercial. And it's like, well, thank God John Lennon's dead, because he'd be furious about this. It's like,
he would be.
This is, if you sell your house to somebody, you can't come back in a year and go, whoa, you can't paint it blue. Like, it doesn't work that way. Like, it's not yours anymore.
Wait till you start hearing Prince.
I respect Taylor Swift and Garth Brooks and AC/DC and all the artists that said, nah, I'm not going to do that. I mean, I'm not a Taylor Swift fan. I'm not a big fan of her music, but I'll be damned if I'm not a fan of her as a business person and from a moral standpoint, who said to Spotify, no, not doing it. No, you can't have my music. Garth Brooks, he still isn't available on iTunes. He's available on Amazon. You want to buy?
Boy, is he missed. I wish I could hear more Garth Brooks.
Yeah.
But what's funny is, Brian, it totally makes what I said earlier true. Garth Brooks' tour right now, he's only playing stadiums, and they're all sold out.
Yeah.
So the last lap is for him, where his fan base is like, yeah, we'll bring 80,000 of us together tonight. And he's like, okay, and I'll charge you $50 a ticket. And then I'll take merch, and then I'll take a fee, and bingo, I'm walking away with all this money. But he's doing what he said he would do. He's entertaining his crowd. He's doing, I mean, that's the way this was supposed to be.
We've gone full-blown business on this show and how the music business works, but
that's where we started.
Well,
we started with Howie bringing a point up.
We started talking about how music is introduced to people.
Yeah, but it's business. That's what's changed, Brian. It's
how
business.
they discover it.
Right. It's music discovery.
Music discovery. The 30% are discovering it through gaming, and then Gen Z it's even higher for them to discover.
Very interesting.
Right, but games are a purchased item. It's not a freebie. It's not a streaming freebie thing. They're purchasing games, and this is a side product. They're getting music. So it is business. This is another facet
ultimately
of the
it
music
is.
business. That's my point. I'm not trying to hijack it. I'm saying
too late.
It's a different model of how music is delivered.
That barn door is still open.
Most gamers are sitting there with their headsets on, the microphone that they're on.
Wasn't the show supposed to be about? Yeah,
and they can hear this music off in the background somewhere, so it just plays in their mind, even though they're playing that game.
Sure,
you can still hear that music. And
hey, you invite me to the party, you know it's going to be a good party. Don't invite me if you want a quiet party. That ain't happening. That's the way it goes, kids. Sorry. I got my road dog. Whoops. Hold on, everyone.
Road dog. Time to have a drink.
Everybody's
here.
He's being promoted by Garth Brooks.
Well, I think we've beaten this horse to death, haven't we, Jay? So with that, I'm going to say thank you all for being on the panel, and for the audience out there. As always, leave a comment when this goes up in a few weeks to YouTube.
Mazel tov.
Happy Halloween.
To cover, we'll be happy to do it. Until then,
you brought a costume. That's no fair.
All right. Next week.